Hello, my name is JJ Meadow. I'm the president of AT Guys, and I co-host the Blind Bargains podcast. I'm also a regular contributor to the AFB Access World magazine. Today I'm here to talk about how to use technology to obtain information such as nutritional data, directions, and recipes, and how you can apply this to the seniors and others that you teach. Throughout this demo, I will be using a lot of the voice digital assistants such as Google Home and iOS's Siri. So if you have one of those nearby, you might want to mute the microphone or listen to this on headphones. That way you don't accidentally trigger your voice assistant. In this short demo, I'm going to show a few ways to obtain information about food and how to eat healthy, but there's many other things that you can try as well. So hopefully this gives you a bit of a starting point and you can go from there to try even more things. Let's start with Siri on the iPhone, just to show some simple things that you can ask most of the voice assistants about food, whether it's at home or eating out. Sometimes the question is, what is the healthier option? Suppose you're going to a fast food restaurant such as McDonald's. You could get the bacon, egg, and cheese biscuit or the sausage, egg, and cheese biscuit. They both sound delicious to me. Now, you might have an idea in your mind on which one you think is healthier, at least in terms of calories, but there's only one way to really know for sure. I'm going to hold down the home button on my phone to launch Siri. How many calories are in a McDonald's bacon, egg, and cheese biscuit?
There are about 470 dietary calories in a biscuit.
And if you were to swipe through on your screen, if you wanted to, you would see that it did indeed bring up a McDonald's biscuit. You can do that by swiping right and swiping left. But if the person you're teaching does not have the skill set to do that, they just use Siri, that's fine as well because they can get the information as you heard. Let's try the sausage. How many calories are in a McDonald's sausage, egg, and cheese biscuit?
There are about 562 dietary calories in a biscuit.
Now, of course, calories is just one measure of healthiness, and there are many other things to consider. How much sugar is in a McDonald's sausage, egg, and cheese biscuit?
There are about 2.6 grams of sugar in a biscuit.
This can be especially good for diabetics and others who need to monitor their sugar intake. Now, one of the big tricks with using voice assistants is to really pay a lot of attention to teaching the client how to properly ask questions. The assistants can be forgiving at times, but sometimes they are pretty particular. So I would suggest sticking to a formula like how many calories are in X or something else that is easy to remember, and try to reinforce having the person say the same phrase every single time. That way they understand how these assistants work. They're really good at answering questions, but sometimes they do need to be asked in a specific way. For those that are able to use a computer or a mobile phone, such as iPhone or Android, a wealth of information is available at a website called Directions for Me. On this website, which is run by Horizons for the Blind, you can look up information, ingredients, and directions for literally hundreds of thousands of items. Just about anything that you might find in a grocery store, from frozen foods to canned items, from name brands to many of the most popular generics. Let's show you how it works. The main thing on this homepage is going to be a search box where you can type in as little or as much information as you want. So if you have a specific item in mind, you can be a little more detailed and type in something such as Stover's lasagna. Or if you are a little unsure or you just kind of want to browse, you can type in a more generic term like frozen dinner or chicken. So I'm on a Windows computer running the latest version of NVDA, but you could just as easily do this with JAWS or Narrator, or of course running on a Mac or iPhone or Android as well. It's a very accessible website and it's designed to be very easy to use. I'm going to press enter on this search box so I can type my search term. And I'm going to type in frozen lasagna.
FROZEN-LASAGNA.
And press enter.
Search results. Directions for me document. Link skip to content.
So I have loaded a search results page. Because this website is very accessible, I can jump by heading and go easily between the various sections on the page. For NVDA and JAWS, that will be the letter H.
Search results for frozen lasagna.
And I can just press down arrow now.
2 matching products. Separator. Link Morningstar Farms lasagna entree with sausage style crumbles.
There is one from Morningstar Farms. Let's press down arrow to see what else we have.
Morningstar Farms registered lasagna entrees with sausage-style frozen lasagna entree star 2 separator.
All right, here's our second one.
Visited link Stouffer's lasagna with meat and sauce family size.
The Stouffer's lasagna meat family size version. So let's press enter on that one and see what we have.
Stouffer's lasagna with meat and sauce family size. Directions for me document. Link skip to content.
So on this page, you will find several different headings, which includes things like, well, let's just press H and find out.
Stouffer's lasagna with meat and sauce family size.
There's the name of the product.
On this page.
There is a list of links that you can use to jump to the various sections that we're going to come across right now.
Directions.
And there's the directions. So that's probably the most important thing that you want to find out in this situation. We can down arrow and we can hear the directions.
Keep frozen. Serving suggestion. Cook thoroughly for food safety and quality. Read and follow these. Cooking instructions to ensure that product reaches an internal temperature of 160 degrees F 80 minutes. Conventional oven cooking. Since ovens vary, cooking heat and times may require adjusting. 1. Preheat oven to 350 degrees F. Do not exceed 350 degrees F. Remove tray from box. Do not vent.
I'm just pressing down arrow to go through these directions.
Do not remove film cover. 2. Place tray on the baking sheet on center rack in oven. Cook 35 minutes. Remove cover. Continue cooking 45 minutes. 3. Using pot holders in both hands. Carefully remove.
Now, if I were to continue hitting the down arrow key, I would come across the microwave instructions as well. They are in the same section. Let's press H to find out what else is available.
Description.
There's a product description that just tells you what's in the lasagna. That's generally a manufacturer's public relations description of the product.
Other description.
Same as that one as well.
Nutrition facts.
Nutrition facts could be very interesting.
Serving size 215.0 g. Servings per container 5.
So we know there's 5 servings in this container. If we continue on, we'll get some calorie information.
Energy 290.
290, they're actually calling it energy here, which is the same as calories. That's per serving. And if we continue to hit down arrow, we would come across more nutritional facts. Let's press H again.
Ingredients.
There's a list of ingredients.
Tomato puree, water, tomato paste, blanched macaroni product, water, semolina, water, part skim.
And we can go on and on these ingredients. There's one more heading that could be very important.
Warnings.
Warnings will show us things like allergen information. So if you are working with a client who might be allergic to dairy or gluten or other things, you would find that out right here.
Contains milk, soy, wheat ingredients.
So this particular item has milk and soy and wheat ingredients. So that's really good information to know and very important depending on the situation that you're coming across. I found that the trick with directions for me is to try to search a little more generally and then look through the results. Sometimes if you try to be too specific in your search, the item that you are searching for will not come up. Also, depending on what you are searching for, you may not find the exact product, but you can find one that is close enough that will still give you the directions. For instance, you might find a bag of Tyson chicken nuggets that's 3 pounds and you have a 1 pound bag, but the cooking instructions are going to be pretty similar. I've now moved a little closer to my kitchen so I can demonstrate another really cool feature that's available on the Google Assistant. This is available on the Google Home or Nest Home or Google Home and Nest Home Mini, among others. Unfortunately, it will not work the same way on iOS or Android devices using the Google Assistant. What Google can do is talk someone entirely through the making of a recipe, answering questions along the way, giving ingredients, directions, and much more. You start doing this by asking for a recipe that you want to make. Now I'm going to add healthy to my request because I want a healthier version of a recipe. Hey Google, find me a recipe for a healthy chicken Alfredo.
Got it. I've got a recipe called Healthier Chicken Alfredo Pasta Recipe by Tasty from Tasty. Does that sound good?
Yeah.
Great. Would you like to start with ingredients or instructions?
Ingredients.
There are 13 ingredients. You can ask for the next ingredient or skip to the instructions. The first ingredient is 1 tablespoon olive oil.
So that's now the first ingredient, and it will start going through the list. There's no rush. Google is holding on to this recipe. So if you're in your kitchen and you're making this thing, you can go through this at whatever pace that you would like. Then when you're ready for the next one, you just say, hey Google, next ingredient.
The second ingredient is 2 chicken breasts cubed.
Hey Google, next ingredient.
1 teaspoon salt.
Now suppose somebody heard that last ingredient, but they need to hear it again. Hey Google, what was the last ingredient?
1 teaspoon salt.
Hey Google, Next ingredient,
1/2 teaspoon pepper.
and so on and so on. In addition to asking Google to repeat an ingredient, you can also ask for the amount of something specific. Hey Google, how much chicken is in the recipe?
Did you mean chicken breasts or chicken broth?
Chicken breast.
2 chicken breasts cubed.
Now remember, you can also ask Google to do unit conversions in case you need to convert something like sticks of butter to cups or teaspoons to tablespoons. Hey Google, how many sticks of butter are in a cup?
1 cup is equivalent to 2 sticks of butter. To convert from cups to sticks of butter, multiply unit of volume by 2.
Now all this time, Google still has the recipe in its memory, so you can still ask questions about anything else. You can even play music, go off and do the laundry and come back, and your recipe is still here until you tell it that you no longer want to use the recipe. So you can say, hey Google, give me the instructions.
There are 13 steps. I'll read them one by one. When you're ready to hear more, you can say, next step. First step, heat the olive oil over a skillet and add chicken.
Hey Google, next step.
Second step, season with salt and pepper and cook 5 to 8 minutes or until no longer pink.
I like how it's going through these one at a time, and you can easily take your own time as you're making the recipe. It's really great for hands-free operation when you are in the kitchen. So having a Nest Mini or another Google product somewhere near your kitchen can be really valuable for cooking. Hey Google, next step.
Remove the chicken from the pan and set aside.
One other note, when I'm saying next step, I think it's important to teach people to say next step and previous step instead of just next and previous, especially if they're also listening to music. Because as you may know, when you are listening to music, you can also say next and previous to go to the next and previous song. So saying next step tells Google that yes, we are talking about the recipe. We are not talking about music. So if you happen to be listening to something while you are doing the recipe at the same time, next step and previous step makes it a lot more clear. You can also do other questions like, hey Google, how many people does this recipe serve?
This recipe serves 4.
Hey Google, how many calories in this recipe?
722 calories.
Which we assume is per serving. When you are done with all of this, just say, hey Google, stop cooking.
Sure, done.
If you happen to have a Google Assistant connected to a mobile phone, such as an iOS or Android device, you can also choose recipes from the phone or send them to the assistant. There are more advanced ways to do this for those who might have a smartphone. But if you just have an assistant, that's okay. You can do quite a bit with just the Google Assistant. Some people might ask, what is the better assistant to have for things like this? I've demonstrated things with Siri and with the Google Assistant. And of course, you can do a lot of these things with Alexa as well. And it really depends on the person and the type of things that you want to do and what's already available. The assistants start at under $50, so they are quite affordable for most people. As you can tell, there are so many methods that are available for creating access to healthy recipes, food information, and much more. We've just scratched the surface during this short presentation. What works best for the people that you are working with really depends on what their experience is in the past and how easy it might be to teach them new concepts. The assistant might be great for someone who has recently lost their vision and has limited technology skills. On the other hand, if they were a mobile phone or computer user before losing their vision, using a website like Directions for Me or other nutritional websites might be in the cards. Thanks for listening and enjoy the rest of the presentations.
JJ Meadow's address is jj@atguys.com.